This week's lineup was crazy, boys, so stay tuned. What's good, guys? Hunter here and welcome back to Fragrance Hunt. Hope you're all doing good. The weekly lineup is here. Of course, this week was Halloween, so of course you already know we had to pull out some darker, spookier fragrance, which is exactly what we did. And just all in all, so many bangers in this week. And drop your week down below. Now, if you aren't familiar with the series that I do on a weekly basis, every single Monday I drop it. We basically just run down what fragrance we're on each day, how many sprays I did, the kind of weather outside, and of course, if that fragrance got any attention or not. So you guys want to get right into it? Let's do it. Monday was in the high 50s and sunny outside, and I pulled out Les Eaux Primavera Vanille Supermassive. Guys, this vanilla right here is gotta be one of the best niche vanillas I've ever tried, man. And I forgot how good this beauty was until Monday, when I decided to pull it out, and man, was I impressed once again. Very resinous, kind of sweet alchemy note, a ton of this spicy cinnamon, a little bit of this kind of leathery lavender, and of course, the star of the show, the vanilla in the dry down. Actually, a little bit of this green, earthy patchouli too, and I'm telling you right now, guys, this performs insane. A very, very strong take on vanilla. That's why they only give you a 50 ml size with this beast. On Monday as well, I did go 6 sprays of Vanille Supermassive. Like I said, you don't need much more than that, so kind of toned it down a little bit. Did get a comment from my girl, man. She kind of came over to me, whispered in my ear and said, "You smell so good today." And that put a huge smile on my face. And for some reason in the past as well, every single time I've worn a Vanille Supermassive, I've got told this is one of the best fragrances people have ever smelled in their life. So for vanilla lovers out there, go ahead and mark this down in your notes because I think it's absolutely worth checking out. Tuesday was also in the high 50s and sunny outside, and I pulled out Super's Budapest Gentleman, the fragrance for the fall time from the house of Super's easily, and that's exactly why this baby right here also made my indie fall list of 2025, guys. It smells like fall in a bottle, kind of familiar to something like Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. However, though, it adds this kind of chocolatey cacao, and you're a little bit more powdery also. But of course, you are going to get that cherry pipe tobacco and a vanilla combination, which literally smells like a gentleman and somebody like wearing a suit in a cigar lounge, drinking a whiskey and smoking a cigar. That's the exact vibe gentleman gives off, and I love it. So if you are a true gentleman, you want this in your collection. Now, I'm not talking about if you're a fake gentleman. Don't be faking this stuff out here, guys. But yeah, for gentlemen only. On that day as well, I did do 6 sprays of this one, guys. The sprayers on this, as we all know, with Supers is one of the best sprayers in the game. Equivalent to like 2 to 3 sprays from a regular kind of normalized atomizer. And these are also extraits, as we know, which are strong, potent fragrances. So when it comes down to it, if you want to smell like a gentleman, check it out at Supers with code HUNTER10 to save some cash. Wednesday was in the low 50s and cloudy outside, and I went with Joe Milano Game of Spades Wild Card. This fragrance is very, very popular and pretty much viral, especially on like the short form platforms like TikTok. I don't know, do you guys watch fragrance TikTok or you just stick to YouTube? Because me personally, guys, I cannot stand TikTok. It's a bunch of like just stupid content over there that I'm just so tired of, and pretty much ruining everybody's attention span. But that's a discussion for another time. But on that day, I went with Game of Spades Wild Card, which is inspired by Bond No. 9's Lafayette Street, which is probably the most popular fragrance from a Bond. Very powdery, kind of smells like dryer sheets, a little bit fruity from like apples, ambroxan, and of course a little bit of vanilla in here. And I'm telling you though, this is extremely crowd pleasing. I cannot see anybody not enjoying Game of Spades Wild Card. This stuff is very good. Also only went 6 sprays with Wild Card. The performance with this is also pretty good for the kind of scent profile that it is. And if you want a dumb reach fragrance you can never really go wrong with, you're gonna smell quality, you're gonna smell good, and get a ton of compliments while wearing it if you're around people, this is a good choice to go with. Thursday was in the low 50s and rainy outside, and I pulled out Louis Vuitton's Nuit de Faux, which in my opinion is a vampire juice, guys. It smells like something a vampire would literally wear. Very dark, very mysterious, very smoky from like incense. However, though, it's just kind of smoky, cold incense kind of vibe into this one. It's not warm. You also get a little bit of this leather and of course that oud. And this baby right here might be discontinued very, very soon from LV. So if you want one of the best Middle Eastern LVs out there, you have to get a bottle of an Nuit de Feu before it's completely gone. These are not cheap though. These are well over $400 a bottle, which is a hard pill to swallow. But still, if you love smoky, leathery, oudy, kind of cold style fragrances that smell like a vampire, this is a good choice. On the day though, also went 6 sprays of an Nuit de Feu. This is a beast mode fragrance in and of itself, just like Ombre Nomad. My girl though, she was not a fan of it, boys. She kind of told me that I smelled like a dentist throughout the entire day. And when she said that, I can honestly see where she's kind of coming from. It's almost kind of rubbery, cold, kind of like dentist rubber gloves, as is the kind of vibe this gives off. But yeah, like I said, very different, unique, and mysterious. Perfect for the October months. Friday was Halloween, and it was also in the low 50s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out Boho Boko Oriental Saffron. This is a dark fragrance. Look at that juice color, guys. If you love saffron, this is a good one to get. It's a very sexy, kind of dark, seductive take on saffron. Perfect for a Halloween night, which is exactly why I pulled this out. Gives me spooky Halloween vibes through and through. Very spicy as well. Saffron, cumin, coriander, turmeric, ginger. There's a ton of spices going on in the opening of Oriental Saffron. Even like cloves, cardamom, pretty much has every spice in the game in the opening. But it does dry down to this very dark, earthy oud, vanilla, and a little bit of honey. And I think a little bit of patchouli in the base as well, which we all know I love patchouli. And I believe Boho Boko is this kind of Polish niche brand that create fragrances completely outside of the box. I mean, I have a fragrance something called Magic Mushroom, Polish Potatoes, Oriental Saffron. Kind of reminds me of brands like Nas Amato, if you know what I mean, those dark, kind of mysterious niche houses. However, on that day, I did do 10 sprays of Oriental Saffron, so I was smelling dark all day long for Halloween. And like I said, guys, this is perfect for a spooky October night like Halloween in and of itself. So drop your scent of the day that you wore for Halloween. I'm curious what you guys are rocking. Saturday was in the low 50s and sunny outside, and I pulled out the brand new Aramis Intuition, guys. Aramis has finally gone modern with this new release. It is kind of bittersweet though, because I believe since they came out with this, they completely discontinued the original Aramis, which has been around for so many years. It's basically a classic icon at this point. However, Intuition takes this kind of fougere and makes it very modern. It says blue, fougere, manly man type of fragrance. At least for the modern man, if you know what I mean. It might not put hair on your chest like the original Aramis did, but guys, this one actually very, very much surprised me. If you love blue, citrusy, fresh, kind of grapefruit fragrances with a ton of lavender, like this metallic fougere lavender, with this kind of smoky, leathery patchouli dry down, which I loved. If this one's getting hate, I don't want to hear it unless you just hate modern blue fragrances, and it could possibly be redundant. It's almost in the same realm as something like Bleu de Chanel, Raja Parfums Elysium, since they both have that kind of grapefruit vibe. But I still think this one is very unique in and of itself and goes in its own direction when it comes to blue. Also on that day, I did do 10 sprays of Intuition. The performance was decent. It's not mind-blowing. It's not beast mode or anything like that. My girl, however, gave me a compliment that I smelled so good, smelled like a man, and kind of smells a little bit piney, she said. I could honestly see where she's kind of coming from when she said piney. It's probably from the patchouli in here, because it also does have a ton of greenness thrown into the DNA. But at the end of the day, guys, I actually think Aramis Intuition's absolutely worth checking out, especially for the price at retail. This is not bad at all. Sunday was in the mid-50s and sunny outside, and I pulled out Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Ivory, which is a new release that honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of, especially when I reviewed it, because I had high expectations for this, especially how they marketed it being kind of fougere, smoky fragrance, which really, it isn't. Like, you're supposed to have a ton of like this bonfire, smoky vibe about it. No, this is a creamy, kind of lavender, woody type of fragrance, which I was in the mood for on that day, this kind of creamy fragrance, which this is exactly that. So if they were to market it more as like a creamy fougere lavender fragrance, it would have done a lot better than ruin a lot of people's expectations, because when it comes to fiery, smoky fragrances, people love that stuff. You're only really gonna find that with like ultra niche fragrances, not something like Valentino. And it's only an eau de toilette and the performance is garbage. But hey, I believe it is a limited edition Uomo, which of course is nice to have in the collection in and of itself. Even though the The performance isn't the best, and it's kind of a letdown. On Sunday as well, didn't really do much, only rocked 3 sprays of ivory. The performance, like I said, it's not good. You absolutely need more than 3 sprays if you're wearing this out somewhere, believe me. Probably gonna need at least 10. But that's what I chose to wrap off the week is Womo Born in Roma Ivory. Let me know if your thoughts on this. I honestly think the women's is much better, plus that one's the EDP. But that's gonna do it for the weekly rotation, guys. As always, if you haven't already, drop your rotations down below. I love seeing what you guys are rocking with as well. And besides that, leave a like, subscribe below if you haven't already as well. And of course, I'll catch all of you boys back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.